Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are diving deep into the blueprint for a well-managed cloud. If you've ever touched a platform like Azure, you know just how quickly things can get, well, complex. So how do you actually bring some order to all that potential chaos? Let's get into it. So I want you to just picture your own cloud setup for a second. Is it this beautifully structured kingdom where everything has its place and everything has a purpose? Or is it maybe more of a chaotic jungle? Resources are kind of scattered all over the place, and just finding something is an adventure in itself. It's a really critical question. And believe me, how you answer it changes everything. The good news is, Azure doesn't just throw you into that jungle and say, good luck. Nope, it gives you a really powerful framework that's specifically designed to help you build that structured, organized kingdom. And that framework is the Azure Resource Manager. Honestly, you should think of this as the absolute core engine. It's the central control panel for literally everything you do in Azure. It doesn't matter if you're spinning up a virtual machine, a database, or a network. The Resource Manager is the thing in the background, making sure it all happens in a consistent and controlled way. So, to really get how this all works, we've got to start at the very top of the food chain. Let's zoom all the way out to the biggest, broadest layer of organization there is, the subscription. Your Azure subscription is basically the master container. It's tied directly to your account, it's where all the bills end up, and it's your first line of defense for controlling who gets access to what. Everything, and I mean everything, your company owns in Azure lives inside one of these subscriptions. To make this super clear, let's use an analogy that we're going to stick with for a bit. Just imagine your subscription is the entire filing cabinet room for your whole company. It's a secure space, it contains everything, and you need the right key, your credentials, just to even open the door and get inside. Okay, so we're in the room now, but just tossing all your company's files onto the floor wouldn't be very organized, would it? Of course not. You need a way to group all the related stuff together. And that, my friends, is where resource groups come into play. Now, listen up, because this part is not optional. It is a fundamental, non-negotiable rule in Azure. Every single thing you create, a VM, a storage account, a web app, you name it, it must be placed inside a resource group. There are absolutely no exceptions. And this is actually great because it forces a baseline level of organization right from the very start. And boom, this slide really brings that whole hierarchy together. So the subscription, that's the room itself. The resource group, that's a specific labeled drawer in one of the cabinets. Say, this one is for Project Phoenix. And then the resources, well, those are the individual files and folders, the actual VMs, databases, and networks that you place neatly inside that drawer. See? Simple. What's so cool here is how flexible this is. You get to decide how to label your drawers. You could make a resource group for every single project, or a really common one, you could have one for each environment, right? Dev, test, and prod. Or you could even organize them by department, so marketing has its own little world and finance has theirs. All right, so your filing cabinet is looking good. It's neat, it's tidy, every file is in the right drawer. But what's stopping someone from walking in, opening that production drawer, and just accidentally shredding a mission-critical file? Yikes. Being organized is one thing, but you also need control. You need protection. And that question brings us to a super important topic: governance. Azure gives you a whole set of tools designed specifically to let you enforce rules, protect your most important assets, and just generally maintain control over your entire cloud environment. This table just lays out our analogy perfectly. So, tags? Think of those as the color-coded labels you stick on the files so you can easily track costs. Resource locks? That's like putting a real physical lock on the cabinet drawer to stop those accidental changes. And Azure Policy? Well, that's the big set of company rules posted on the wall, spelling out exactly what kind of files are allowed in which drawers, making sure everyone stays compliant. Let's dig into tags for just a sec. They work with these simple little key value pairs. So you could have a key called department, and the value is finance, or a key called environment with a value of production. This little bit of metadata is absolutely invaluable when you need to figure out who's spending what. Resource locks are, without a doubt, your ultimate safety net. You can apply a lock that stops anyone from deleting something, or even a lock that prevents any changes whatsoever. You slap this on your most critical production stuff, and I promise you, you'll sleep a little better at night knowing a simple slip of the keyboard won't bring everything crashing down. And then there's Azure Policy. This is where the real magic of at-scale governance happens. You can set up a rule that says something like, hey, no resources can be deployed outside of North America, or all storage accounts must have encryption turned on. And then policy just automatically enforces those rules across your whole subscription. It's how you stay compliant without having to check everything manually. So we've organized everything, and we've applied a bunch of rules. What's the big payoff? Why did we go through all this trouble? Well, it all boils down to the incredible value of being in control. So why does all this really matter? Well, when you build this kind of structure, you get a consistent, predictable environment. You massively boost your security by controlling who can do what. You can actually prove you're in compliance with company or industry standards. And at the end of the day, you gain total visibility and control over your piece of the cloud. And really, this is the bottom line right here. Without governance, a big, sprawling cloud can become a huge liability. It's insecure, it's expensive, it's chaotic. But with the right management and governance, you transform it. It becomes a powerful strategic asset that can safely and efficiently help your business race forward. So there you have it. We've gone over the blueprint, the hierarchy, and all the tools for governance. You now have the fundamental building blocks you need to create a really well-architected cloud environment. So the only question left to ask is, how are you going to use them to build your kingdom?